Hello and welcome to the EJGPodcast, and today we are going to talk about the future of LEGO video games. Now, with Dimensions coming out, part of me is worried that we'll not get as many of these games, but I feel like LEGO will still make these games because sometimes you need a full game based around a franchise rather than 8 levels of the franchise or something a story pack or a level pack couldn't cover. So I'm going to dig right in. So 2017, I've got a feeling they might make a game called LEGO Justice League based on obviously the movies. This comes to me as a good chance because one, the Justice League movie comes out next year. Two, if you look at the pattern of DC and Marvel games since Lego Batman 2, it's gone DC, Marvel, DC, Marvel, DC. So it's followed that pattern. So next up is a DC game. And also this would make a lot of sense because it could include Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, although they might not include that if they were to make the game because of the name. Although there was a Squad DLC in Lego Batman 3, so they might just call it Squad. And then there's also the Wonder Woman, and of course the Justice League, which they might end up doing sort of what they did with the Lego Avengers game and just sort of link them all together, which would be pretty cool. But I also think in 2017 there's also a good chance that we might get Star Wars Episode 8 game, and I feel like this game will include content from Rogue One and Episode 8, a bit like how they released Star Wars The Force Awakens this year. I feel like they're going to do that more often now, and I believe that in 2019 they're going to do Star Wars Episode 9. Now, here's the complicated one. In 2019, both the second of the two-part Avengers film comes out and Justice League 2 comes out. So I'm curious what could happen here. If it follows the pattern, then next is an Avengers game. But the problem is by then they'll have 10 movies in Phase 3 to choose from. And I know some of them are DLC in the LEGO Avengers, but they'd have to really, really nitpick and choose their favourite ones, which would be really, really hard unless they split into 2 games, which is a possibility. But you've also got your Justice League 2 as well coming out in that year, which is also a bunch of movies they might want to make into a game. So this one's a really complicated one. But considering there's going to be 2 Avengers films which are sort of connected, I think they might try and possibly split it up so that basically you got 5 movies per game. That would make more sense and more manageable. And Justice League 2, by then I think you have about 4 films by then, 4 or 5. Yeah, you should have about 4 or 5 films by then, maybe 6 to go at. So it's not too much of a big deal for Justice League 2 because that game would be able to take in all the content, but the LEGO Avengers Infinity War may struggle a bit. Anyway, moving on from that, I think that's basically most of what we might get in the future. Although it's possible we might get a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game in 2018, but I wouldn't keep your fingers crossed on that one because I think it's a bit hit and miss really. It depends how popular it is, because that's when the third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film comes out in the trilogy. But saying that, we might get in the future of Dimensions, we may get some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in that someday. And I also think the Lego Batman movie will probably be Dimensions content, because I remember playing the Lego movie game and the game felt really short, and I feel like they could do something better in just Dimensions content. And also you're probably in the future it wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo and Ben 10 and Generator X and all that kind of stuff came into Dimensions, because they've got rights to Cartoon Network and they've got Sonic the Hedgehog, which is Sega, but they may try and make a deal with Nintendo. Nintendo are more open these days than they used to be, so who knows. I would really like a cool Lego Link figure. But anyway, yeah, that concludes my theory of the future of the Lego video games. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.